second. Okay. All right.
All right. Hey, guys. Thank you so much, Martha, for having us today. She mentioned it's a beautiful summer day, so I'm so happy. It sounds like we have a wonderful group here today, and we're very excited to be here to share with you a little bit about Vima, where we're working. We are working on the first oral medication for dystonia, and we'll talk a bit about kind of the mechanisms and all that. Dr. Michael Oldham is here to talk about some of those things, and then get a little bit of information about a current clinical trial that we're doing for this new medication, and then maybe some ways that you guys, if you're interested in getting involved, we'll be happy to discuss some of those things. So I'm Luke Kramer. I work as the Director of Patient Community partnerships. So I work closely with DMRF National. I've been very fortunate to be able to travel the nation to meet with a lot of DMRF groups. Next week, I'll be in Portland for their Zoo Day. And actually right before I'll be doing one of these for Michigan. So Michigan support group. So we're really trying to do what we can to connect with our dystonia community about what we do and hopefully educate you guys a bit about what we do and what's going on. So Dr. Michael Odom is our VP of Clinical Development. He is our kind of our nerd guru about all good things scientific. And so he's really going to be here to kind of address some of the questions you guys may have about that. So I'll just kind of hop right in. So Vima Therapeutics, we are a new biopharma company. We were just founded a couple of years ago by a movement disorder doctor, Dr. Bernard Ravina. He's worked in patient care, clinic, all the way to working at pharmaceutical companies throughout his extensive career. Was kind of the new point, what is next? And he looked across the landscape of all the populations he's worked for over the years and said, there's one community who there hasn't been any good research for in decades, and it is the dystonia community. And so he created Vima Therapeutics really as our second thing, as our goal is to create a new era of treatments for dystonia and other related movement disorders. So right now we have what we call VIM 0423, which is just the name of the medication, the compound that we're currently in a clinical trial for. It is our lead candidate, and it is designed to address the root cause of movement disorders by acting directly into the brain. So I know a lot of people will talk about Botox and other medications and ways that people are dealing with the symptoms, but we are hoping through the research that we're doing that this mechanism may be able to affect directly right at the core root of where dystonia is happening in the brain. So just to let you know, clinical research, I'm going to show you just a quick 5-minute video. Since there hasn't been a lot of clinical research done in dystonia for a long time, a lot of people are really don't know a lot about the clinical research process. So I thought we would just do a quick 5-minute introduction. What is clinical research, to kind of give you just a quick glimpse into that. So I will start this little video. Hopefully everybody will be able to hear it okay.
What is a clinical research study?
Sound good?
For many of us, being diagnosed with a serious life-changing illness can mean starting a stage in life filled with new doctors, nurses, tests, procedures, treatment regimens, and plenty of confusion. And on top of everything else, you may be asked about considering clinical research, or a clinical trial, clinical study, or a research study. And that's where we come in. Let's start by explaining what these terms mean. Clinical study, clinical trial, and research study mean the same thing. Studies are what doctors create to find out if a potential study drug works and is safe. Some of these potential drugs may be new in development, and other drugs may have been around for a while, but are being studied in different illnesses. Every drug, from your common painkiller to a leading cancer medicine, has been through a clinical study. These studies answer questions like, what side effects does a new drug have? Does it stop or slow down the illness it is designed to treat? Does it work better than current treatments? And can it be given alongside other drugs that are used for the same illness? In each case, the answers must come in the form of scientific data, or facts. not the opinions of the doctors, patients, or families involved, but the actual results that are collected and monitored during a clinical study. It's important to have patients of every race and ancestry included in studies to better understand how the study drug works in every patient population. All potentially eligible patients are invited to consider a study, regardless of race, ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability status. Diverse representation matters in studies to understand if results differ in different populations. Every study participant receives the same care, the same tests, scans, procedures, study visits, and follow-up. Plus, there are always safety procedures in place to monitor the well-being of every patient at every stage of every study. Because of this diligent monitoring, patients get personalized care from doctors and nurses while in clinical research. Studies are designed to remove bias. Some studies are comparative, meaning that some patients will get the standard treatment plus the study drug, while others will get only the standard treatment plus a placebo. Comparative studies are often done under double-blind conditions. This means that neither the patients nor the doctors know who is getting the study drug or the placebo. A placebo is a substance that looks like the study drug, but contains no active components. If there is no standard treatment approved for an illness, a patient may only get the study drug or the placebo. Patients can also be randomized to different groups in a study, meaning they are randomly assigned, like flipping a coin into a particular group. Always remember, it is up to you to decide whether a study is right for you. Study participation is voluntary and requires your informed consent or permission from start to finish. And, of course, patients have the freedom to leave any study at any time. Not every patient is eligible for a study, though. Enrollment is based on meeting certain entry requirements. For example, most studies require that patients are over 18 years old and have moderate to severe illness. If you meet all entry requirements and you decide to participate, your informed consent is required before any study procedures can be done. A well-designed study can help answer whether a drug works and if it is safe, whether the outcome is better or worse than standard therapy, whether your illness responds to the drug or not, and all studies give researchers and doctors information about what to do next. So the next time a doctor or nurse mentions clinical research, hopefully this information has helped you understand what that means. Talk to your doctor or nurse to find out more about the benefits and risks of a clinical study. Ultimately, you decide what is right for you.
Okay, so that hopefully will give you a little bit of a sense of what a clinical research study is. So, like I mentioned, our current medication that we have is in a phase 2 study. So it's very early in the process. It's the first time those that are living with dystonia are actually going into a clinical research trial and trying this medication. So we did an observation study with usually what they call healthy normal people, just to look at safety and tolerability, and then we began to look within the dystonia community to see how the drug is acting. So a lot of people who may be new to participating in clinical research, they kind of ask why. Why should I volunteer? And of course, it's really great to help researchers since there is no current other studies for oral medications for dystonia. It helps researchers really to learn more about dystonia and illness and possible treatments. And then, of course, you get to become part of hopefully a long chain of individuals who have participated in clinical research that can help others in the future. So that that down the line, I always say to Michael and others, look, Vima, we don't want to be the last one to come and try to help find new therapies in dystonia. We hope that we're the first of many. It would be fantastic if this were to open the floodgates of many other companies and many other institutions who want to learn more and study you more about dystonia to help the community. So we hope that this is just the beginning of being able to help change the landscape of dystonia. A lot of times I live in Little Rock, Arkansas, and so there are a lot of times people who don't have access to certain particular doctors or particular procedures or testing that you may have in a clinical research trial. So sometimes it's very helpful for individuals. They learn more about their own illness. And then, of course, just the understanding, laboratory testing and those type things, again, to kind of see how does this compound react and what adjustments could we make in the future. So, I wanted to kind of now turn it over to Michael just to talk a bit more about the particular medication and a little bit about more about the study itself. And so, and then at the end, when we get done, we'll absolutely open this up for any questions that you guys may have. So, Michael, I'll turn it over to you. And again, Michael, who is having and see, it's so funny, us in Arkansas have fantastic service on our internet, but for some reason, North Carolina,
Yes, the storms of South Carolina
South Carolina,
are
that's
my
right.
foes today. So
So he's having a little bit of technical. So staying off video will probably help his bandwidth a bit. So anyway,
yeah.
I'll turn it over to you. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so much, Luke. And echoing what Luke said, very happy to be here with everyone and great to see such an incredible turnout. I see, we just went from 33 to 34 people as I was talking there, so it's awesome. If you go to the next slide, Luke, that would be great. So as he said, we'll kind of go through a little bit more about clinical studies and then some of the details of what our study entails and where we are right now. So as Luke mentioned and was also alluded to in the video, there are many different reasons that clinical studies or clinical trials are run. At this stage, where we are, which is called a phase 2 study, we are still certainly evaluating the investigational drug for its safety and its tolerability. But we are now measuring different aspects of its effect on the symptoms of dystonia and how any changes in those symptoms are having an impact on people's lives. There are many different ways that we try to get at answering those questions and understanding how the drug works. And so, for example, there in our study, we have a few short questionnaires, some of which are as few as 3 questions, really trying to understand, what, if any, changes occurred to people's most bothersome symptoms, how there may have been a change, either good, the same, or worse, in their work life, their social life, etc. But then also, very importantly, like I mentioned, it is still a key feature of a phase 2 study to understand the side effects and the tolerability. And so there are, throughout the course of the study, multiple time points in which we assess and ascertain, feedback from the participants about their side effects. As many of you probably know, here in the US and throughout the world, any clinical study of an investigational drug is very highly regulated. It's the goal of the FDA and other similar bodies to ensure the safety of the population. And so there is a rigorous process that we go through to get approval to conduct the study. And then also we have very specific criteria. Sometimes, again, at this stage of development, the phase 2 stage, are somewhat more conservative than later stages because we do need to understand the effect of the drug in a potentially smaller population or a more specifically defined population. If you go to the next slide, Luke. So as many of you know, right now in the US, technically the only drugs approved for dystonia are the botulinum toxins. And then there's also approval for the deep brain stimulation device. but the other oral medications that are often used do not have a specific label, it's called, or indication for dystonia. So they're used, quote unquote, off label. And then additionally, and interestingly, all of the 5 botulinum toxins that are approved in the US by the FDA only have very limited and specific indications themselves. So all 5 of them are only technically approved for cervical dystonia, and then 2 of them are also approved for blepharospasm. And so again, as of right now, today, there are no oral medications specifically approved. And also, as Luke kind of mentioned, as part of our goal at Vima, we really wanted to champion an oral medication that hopefully will have the ability to affect any body region or body part affected by dystonia. Because it is an oral drug and gets into the brain and acts at the site of where we believe the problems with dystonia arise, it should therefore, and one of the things that we're studying is whether it will be able to treat all different parts of dystonia. If you go to the next slide, please. So to that end, as was mentioned, our phase 2 study, we have named the Stride Dystonia Study, not because one of the main outcomes is looking at walking or gait or strides, but rather because we at Vima, along with all of you and all of our sites and the DMRF, et cetera, are really trying to help make major strides in the space of dystonia. We feel that it's really important to bring new options to people living with dystonia beyond what is available now. And as I mentioned, because this is an oral medication that does cross into the brain, we believe and are studying the effect of this on that root cause of the dystonia. If you go to the next slide, please, Luke. So a little bit of details about the study itself. We are starting with a very specific type of dystonia that now many clinicians are calling isolated dystonia. Some of the other terms that have been used in the past for that are that you may have heard is primary dystonia. And so this is differentiated from types of dystonia that are caused by or associated with some other disorder. So, for example, many people with Parkinson's disease may have dystonia, or cerebral palsy or CP may have dystonia. Isolated dystonia, on the other hand, like cervical dystonia or generalized dystonia, these are types of dystonia that are in and of themselves discrete disorders that really seem to arise not due to any other disease. There may be a genetic cause in some, but it is not necessarily associated with another disease like I mentioned, like Parkinson's. Um, we are starting in adults up to age 65 years of age. We are planning in the near future, hopefully, to actually expand up to age 70. And so we will keep everyone informed about that. As mentioned, the primary goal of the study is to look at how does our drug, which again is still an investigational drug, so it's not available for prescription or to buy at your pharmacy now. It is still under study, but we want to understand how it has an impact on the symptoms of dystonia, pain, the effect to everyday life, as well as how people tolerate the drug. As was alluded to and talked about in that short video, this study is also what's called placebo-controlled and a blinded study. And so people who enroll in the study, about half of them will receive the active study drug, and the other half will receive placebo, or some people may call this like a sugar pill or a non-active compound. And then also, no one in the study knows who is allocated to which of those. So that's what is meant by being a blinded study. And so throughout the course of the study, the doctor, the staff, the people enrolled in the study, and us at Vima even, no one knows who was allocated to the study active drug and who was allocated to placebo, in order to limit or decrease the potential for any bias in how we assess the effects of the drug. Next slide, please, Luke. One more. So we do have a study website. So if you go to www.stridedystonia.com, you can learn much more about the details of the study itself in a very nice laid out manner. There is also a mechanism to see if you qualify for the study by answering about 6 or 7 pre-screening questions. So in the top right corner of the homepage, there's a blue button there that says, "Do I qualify?" And like I said, if you click on that, it goes to a series of questions. Depending on your responses to those questions, you may be connected with someone that we call a patient navigator. And this is an individual who will set up a one-on-one phone call with you to review the responses to this pre-screening questionnaire and then go through a few more details of the study itself. If at that stage you appear to still be likely eligible for the study, they are able to then, based on your preferences, connect you directly with one of our study sites. And so this map right here represents all of the blue dots, and red stars represent, as of right now, where all we have different study sites. So you can see they're kind of scattered all throughout the US. In Southern California, we do have a site in Los Angeles and then also in Irvine. And we are also working to start to set up one or potentially more sites in Northern California as well, possibly Sacramento and East Bay. So I'll pause there. I know that was a lot of information, but as Martha said, and Luke too, we're happy to stick around as long as you all would like and answer questions.
And just real quick, I know that we are probably going to stop recording at this point. If people have further questions, you can go to our vimatx.com website. That's our main page, or just email us at getintouch@vimatx, which is for therapeutics, but vimatx.com, and we can try to help answer any other further questions. And Martha, please feel free to share my email address if you'd like for everyone, and we'll be happy to try to get any additional questions answered for those who will not be here for the Q&A that's being recorded.